Hello there folks, welcome back to ESC Adam, and it's time for another exciting video with some very exciting news indeed. In recent days, we've had some very exciting news that we have some returning countries for next year in Vienna 2026. These countries are namely Romania and Bulgaria. Now, I think it's safe to say for a lot of us, this came out of nowhere. I think with both of their broadcasters, so TVR in Romania and BNT in Bulgaria, I don't think there was ever any sort of inkling or indication that they were thinking about returning, at least not like on a serious level outside of the normal rumour mills of, oh, so-and-so's coming back, so-and-so's coming back. But then out of the blue, literally within 2 days of each other, it's happened. They're back in. It's quite big for the contest, I feel, when returning countries do come back to the contest, and we've seen that in recent years. In 2024, we had Luxembourg return their first participation after more than 30 years. In 2025, we had Montenegro return after a few years break. So let's just delve into how they announced this return and also why it's happened now, because there's a lot of theories circulating as to why these announcements have come so thick and fast one after the other, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So first up was Romania, who confirmed on the 30th of October that they were coming back for the 70th edition of the contest. The President General Director of the broadcaster said, "We propose the resumption of Romania's participation in Eurovision because, in the 2 years of absence, we had the time to better understand what did not work in the relationship between TVR, the music industry, and the creators. We understood what we need to change on our part to have a more competitive selection process commensurate with the scope of the contest, so as to consistently increase the quality of our presence in the final stage. Since participating in Eurovision is a team effort, we spent a lot of time harmonizing the expectations and efforts of everyone who must collaborate so that Romania has the best possible representation. Last but not least, we appreciate the understanding shown by the European Broadcasting Union, which adapted its invitation to Romanian television to return to the contest, taking into account our challenges that our institution faces." So, a lot to dissect there. Obviously, TVR for Romania in the last few years, so 2022, 2023, there have been a lot of issues behind the scenes regarding them and liaisoning with the artist, and a lot of kerfuffle. And then obviously their last appearance, which was in 2023 at the Liverpool contest, that song there didn't really set the world on fire. It wasn't necessarily down to the artist. Again, he wasn't really given much, shall we say, but didn't make it to the final. Last in the semi-final, I think, when you're going off the votes. So they bowed out rather unceremoniously a few years ago. What I find interesting is they're saying they've worked together a lot more, better understand what did not work between the various partnerships that go into sending an act to Eurovision. And you can only hope that that's not just mere PR speak. You actively hope that has changed, because obviously all the artists and the teams involved need to be treated well, treated fairly, be given what they can. So hopefully that has changed for the better. What I found interesting was that they said, "We appreciate the EBU adapting its invitation." As far as I understand, every single year the EBU will issue out an invitation to all of its member broadcasters, all, 68, 70 of them, basically with an invitation if they want to participate in Eurovision. Now, that of course isn't free. There is a contribution you have to make, and for some countries, particularly smaller ones or ones going through financial hardship, that can be rather difficult to meet. I know TVR has its own issues, as do a lot of public service broadcasters at the minute when it comes to money. So it makes me think, the adapted invitation, has the EBU essentially given them some sort of discount, or have they given them, is it like a loan sort of structure? We don't really know as of yet, but it strongly implies at least that there's been some change going on there to make it more accessible for Romania to come back, which, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful. I think it would be good for the EBU to be more transparent on that and as to what has been adapted in that invitation. And again, it will feed into a theory we're going to talk about after we discuss Bulgaria. So Bulgaria haven't taken part since 2022. They've had a few years off, and like Romania, out of the blue on Halloween, they announced that they were coming back. In a statement from their broadcaster, BNT, or Bulgarian National Television, a member of the board, Anton Andanov, said, "It's with tremendous pride and pleasure for BNT to once again have the opportunity to send a Bulgarian representative or representatives to Europe's largest song contest. This is a unique chance for Bulgarian artists and a clear statement of where we stand on the European music scene. Also mentioned that preparations are underway to select both the performer and the song for Bulgaria, and with an addition of, we're going to ensure a transparent and high quality selection so Bulgaria can be proud. Eurovision celebrates its 70th anniversary in 2026, and this is our chance to be a part of the history of Europe's biggest song contest while promoting Bulgarian culture. So a lot less in depth than the Romanian statement. No mention of the invitation from the EBU, whether it was adapted. A lot of people are speculating that, like Romania, it was adapted, because I think BNT, when they withdrew, one of the reasons that they withdrew again was due to financial reasons. So let's get into the theories of this, because a lot of people are saying, you know, look, amongst any reason, it's the 70th anniversary of the contest, it's this big event, and let's face it, the organisers will want as many participating nations as possible. So that's one potential reason why maybe that they're adapting invitations to send to countries like Romania and Bulgaria. And there's a lot of talk about whether other countries who haven't taken part for a while may get that offer as well. But of course, the other theory is the ongoing situation with Israel's potential participation. Now, if you haven't caught up on this, there was going to be a vote, a direct vote in November. That's not happening anymore because of the ceasefire and the purported peace plan and stuff like that. There's going to be the general meeting of the EBU in early December, and apparently a discussion's going to happen there. They've been a bit coy as to whether a vote's going to happen there, but basically, based on that meeting in early December, we will find out whether Israel are going to take part or not in 2026. There are a few countries who have said that they will not take part if Israel do participate. The one to kick that ball rolling was Slovenia, who don't get as much attention for that. It seems to be overshadowed by bigger countries, but they were the ones to really kick this all off. You also have countries such as Ireland who say they will withdraw. Some of the heavy hitters, though, I'd say in this case, are the Netherlands and Spain. Spain, of course, is one of the big five, one of the top 5 financial contributors to the contest. Now, if they go, that's a huge amount of the money into the contest that isn't going to be there. The Netherlands, from what I understand, are the 6th biggest. You know, they're one spot away from the big 5. So again, to lose both Spain and the Netherlands, financially at least, could be quite devastating. So the theory is getting countries like Romania and Bulgaria back in could potentially plug that financial hole. But I don't think that's really the case. I think going off the past, you know, Romania and Bulgaria weren't necessarily some of the largest financial contributors, and I'm only going off guesswork. I'm not a financier or anything like that. I've got no inside information, but I don't think Romania and Bulgaria's financial contributions to Vienna 2026 are going to make up for the loss of the Netherlands and Spain. Certainly not if they've been given adapted invitations, which again potentially could mean that they've had a discounted invitation. Again, that's not confirmed, but if that is the case, then it's certainly going to not make up the shortfall of countries that may withdraw. The flip side of this, if Israel is booted out, then again, will it potentially plug up that shortfall from them not contributing? Possibly. But then again, the more countries, the merrier. It's also just to make sure they get semi-finals off the ground. You know, that's a key indicator. I guess you can do 2 semi-finals with 30 countries. That's 15 apiece. 10 qualify in each and 5 get booted out. We've had semi-finals with 15 countries in before. But really, once you start getting lower than that, that really I think makes the practicality of 2 semi-finals a bit difficult. But again, this is all speculation. This is all theory at this point in time. Romania and Bulgaria coming back in the context of countries coming back to the contest, I think is great. Obviously, the 70th anniversary, it's a big ploy in that sense, a bit of positive boost for the contest. Again, Moldova are looking like they will hopefully return next year as well. So that will be 3 returning countries. And that's not to say it's going to stop there. There could be even more countries on the horizon for coming back. That's not even to mention debuting countries. We talked about this in the past, the fact that Kazakhstan may be on their way to joining. Again, it's still not confirmed, but it's a possibility. I think if they're going for like these grand reveals, then finishing off with a debuting country would be the way to go. Sort of, I guess, how they did it with Australia about 10, 11 years ago. North Macedonia is an interesting one because they're still saying they're debating whether or not they are going to take part. Again, I thought the deadline for that has passed. Clearly not, with the addition of Bulgaria and Romania. So maybe they might get an adapted invitation as well. They haven't taken part for a few years. We'll just have to wait and see. But for the 2 countries that we have got confirmed, this is so exciting to me. Romania had some bangers, man, across their 30-year history in the ESC. For example, the songs they finished third with, their best results, Let Me Try, back in 2005, that is still a banger, still listen to that regularly, as well as Playing With Fire from 2010. Again, that's a regular on my Eurovision playlist. What a great song that is. And also you've got the fan favourites, like their entry from 2022, that still gets a lot of positive praise. And one of my personal favourites, Cesar. You can't forget Cesar from 2013. And then equally, Bulgaria, they first took part in 2005, so, 20 years of various participations for them. They've had some great tunes as well. They came second, of course, back in 2017 with Beautiful Mess. Their entry from 2016 is still often labelled to be a fan favourite. I really enjoyed Growing Up Is Getting Old from 2021. I know that sort of split people a little bit, but I always thought that was a really strong entry. And I'm just really looking forward to seeing what both of these nations bring back to the contest. I'm hoping they're going to go in strong, but let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Do you think these countries returning is some big ploy by the EBU to potentially mitigate any sort of damage control that might happen post-December? Are you excited for them coming back? What's your favourite entry from Romania and Bulgaria? Let me know any thoughts you have in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. It does help us out. Subscribe as well. In the meantime, I've been Adam Martin from ESC Adam. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.